The following podcast may be explicit. One Joe Young presents Adventures from the Shed, a tabletop RPG podcast. You can find us online at adventuresfromtheshed.com. After making a scene in Germany and leaving a rental van smoldering in their wake, Rebeccah, Rellik, Simon, and Lance heed the call of CC1 and are on their way to North America. Listen in on episode 2 of Kurt's Game. Enjoy the podcast.
Oh my God! We're back in the shed!
We are.
Adventures from the Shed.
Hacky,
Hey!
Becky.
Thanks for listening.
Becky.
This is Kurt. This is my second round as Dungeon Master. We are playing a modern espionage thriller, and Joe has been kind enough to give me his throne so that I can game master for the first time since 4th grade, other than that Pathfinder beginner box.
Yeah, if you don't
which
count the
was
Pathfinder
highly railroaded and easy to follow.
And if you haven't listened to that, go ahead and listen to it. We had a lot of fun with Kurt as Game Master for our Pathfinder game.
We did. So I had a blast during the first hour because these players did a great job with our episode. They are part of an elite, off-the-books American team protecting our interests, and they are tracking down white hat hackers who work for the agencies who are being killed or disappearing and going off of the grid. And last episode, they were in Heidelberg and found Hans Schreiber, one of our top assets, with his throat slit side to side. It led to a massive gunfight, sniper fire, a chase with JJ's character, Rellik, leading them along the Hauptstrasse and across the river to safety. Grenades blew, Lance shot people behind them. It was epic. We're going to continue the story here in episode 2. But before we do that, let's go around the table and introduce ourselves and give a brief recap of our character. Chris, let's start with you.
I am playing Simon Magus. He's the linguist, he's the linguist human intelligence guy. So he's not more of the persuasion thing, but more of the breaking into things like security systems, things like that, but not the hacking way, more the mechanical way of things. He's the magician, so to say.
He's also very good at throwing flash grenades.
Yeah, he's very agile. He's very much the cat burglar type.
I have a question then. How many games or how many languages can Simon play? Simon Says in
It's 5.
Five languages.
Yeah, but I didn't pick him ahead of time.
It's
I think we'd let it play out to see what I need
for
to
that.
use.
He knew the answer before you finished asking.
Actually, I know the languages you know.
Oh, you do? Okay.
I do, because I am Central Command. Mickie, tell me about your character briefly.
Hi, everyone. This is Mickie. I'm playing Rebeccah. Rebeccah is our young hacker, the young one who was recruited by the organization to try to do a little good with all her skills.
And I ask this because it will be important in the next session. What does Rebeccah look like?
What is your deal? Dun, dun, dun. What's wrong with it?
I thought it was
He's
more
a weirdo.
successful than that.
Such a.
I mean, generally, how does she dress? What
She's
does she look like?
young. I would say Rebecca's in her early 20s. She has black hair. She always wears pigtails, glasses, nerdy looking.
All right. Attractive? Not attractive?
She's okay.
She's okay. All right.
Is she a computer nerd that's actually pretty but won't show it?
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
So it's like she
Take
takes
the
her glasses
glasses off. Oh my God!
She always wears like a beanie or something.
All right. And I'm not being sexist here. It's just it may matter during the next session. That's
I
fine.
think-
She's in a relationship with Rellik, but it's complicated.
To be fair, everyone else was being sexist, so go ahead.
Okay. Well, that's the way we roll. JJ, tell us about Rellik.
Rellik is like, what do you want to know? Like, he's not sexy really at all. He's grizzled, probably the best way of describing him. He's older.
He's a fighter, not a lover, and he can drive pretty well, even with this surveillance van.
Yeah, it has to do with his hover van, his hover round.
Hover van. That would be awesome.
I know, right?
Next game, future. Hover vans.
Awesome. Well, we saw a lot of his skills in the last session. Joe, tell me about Lance.
Lance McBell, he is an ex-cop who is the face of the team. He is a con man who works his way into whatever situation he can. He's got a prosthetic left hand, which Rebeccah programs to whatever firearm he's using at the time. So he's a real ace shot with whatever he's holding in his hand.
Awesome. Great. And before we get started again, I want to remind everyone that you can find us at adventuresfromtheshed.com. From there, you can link to everything that matters, but you can also check us out directly on Facebook. And we would really appreciate it if you enjoy our show at all, Or, to be honest, even if you don't, would you pretend that you do and go to iTunes and give us a 5-star review? Because that will help people find us. And if you don't know, Adventure from the Shed, we play a lot of Dungeons & Dragons, but we also play a lot of other games. We played Dungeon World. We play-tested Adara. We have played a Star Trek Alpha or Beta. We are now playing this game that I'm basically making up. We played a little Pathfinder. So if you like RPGs and you like gaming, you should be listening to us.
Definitely check us out on Facebook. We have some conversations that have gone on there. If you want us to play a specific game or play a specific way, let us know there. And we check in on that regularly.
Absolutely. So I gave a brief...
Joe checks in.
Well, yeah. When I say we, I mean, me.
The royal we.
Yeah. That's my Oxford pause.
All right, so I gave a brief recap. At the end of the last episode, our heroes were walking into the camera with their surveillance van blowing up like a fireball behind them as they torched the evidence of where they had been and what they had done and hopped onto a small ship on the river and made their way safely away from Heidelberg.
Are we heroes exactly?
Well,
We will be by the end of
We're
this.
heroes on the half
everyone.
shell.
you're heroes to Cobra Commander.
Little power.
CC1. All right, so once you cleared that path, you guys were in the clear. You guys worked your way back to Frankfurt, and you caught a private flight back to the States. You can tell me where you are now, but 2 days have passed. You've basically caught a lot of sleep to recover from the trip, and you expect that you're going to be hearing from the agency through CC1 in the near future to know what your next steps are. To remind the listeners what's going on here is that the white hat hackers working for the United States and for the agencies are being eliminated or being recruited away and are disappearing from service. And we're going to continue working on that case.
We know Hans Schreiber was eliminated. He definitely didn't change sides.
Right.
The more interesting thing, though, is like they were waiting for us for some reason.
Yeah, it was
Were
definitely
they
a
trying
trap.
to get us as a team, or what was up with that?
So tell me where you guys are now.
We're on my farm in rural Pennsylvania, Blue Balls.
Blue balls.
Blue Balls, Pennsylvania.
We're in Blue Balls,
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
Okay.
That's where I grew up.
Blue balls
Okay.
is when you're trying to get there, but you never quite
Not
get
quite
there.
there.
So we're not really there
Intercourse,
yet.
Pennsylvania is 15 minutes away. And I'm not joking.
Are you serious?
There is an Intercourse, Pennsylvania. Yes.
There's a
There's a
Climax
blue ball.
Street in Pittsburgh.
Those are hilarious.
That's awesome.
You thought you had all the geography
All right,
on
so
your map.
So you're on the farm. Do you guys have security? Like, do you have a secure site where you communicate with the team?
This is more security through obscurity.
Okay. So how would you? How would CC1 reach you here if you was?
Well,
Yeah.
there's definitely a farmhouse with some of the
Yeah.
equipment set up for Rebeccah to operate.
All the
Yeah, I mean,
all
there's
the creature
electricity.
comforts are here. It's just
It's out of the way.
Okay.
Way out of the
There's
way.
internet, right?
oh yeah.
Just barely.
So when you guys left Heidelberg, you took Hans's laptop and his phone. Mickie, what did Rebeccah do with that?
Rebeccah would have taken the phone first, plugged it into her laptop to see if she can upload some information.
Okay.
Checking on his call history to see if anyone's accessed his phone, what programs on the phone they accessed,
Okay.
and also if it was traced at any point.
Awesome.
You should also check to see if the.
Don't tell me what to do.
Well, I'm just saying because
Well, friendly and jovial. Rebecca's friendly and jovial and in love with Rellik, right?
Yeah, it's complicated.
you should also check to see if this damn Siri recorded anything. Is like the last words that he may have had.
Didn't I just say I'm going to check all the apps to see what was done, what was used?
No, because that's not an app.
I will check the phone to see what was used to see if there's anything recorded on it.
All right. So you actually spent hours scouring
And his
working against all of the encryptions and the walls and the firewalls and the security that Hans had on his computer. Because remember, this guy was one of our top 5 assets. So it's not like you can just find his password and get in. So you actually were, given the time that you have had and the resources that you have at the farm, not able to get into everything on his computer. You were able to quickly find out that his browser was full of, BDSM dungeon porn, which
What
you would
would
probably
expect
expect from a German college student.
Oh, snap. Sorry, Germany.
Well, they do have a history.
I think
browser history.
Kurt is projecting a little bit.
A
Here.
little bit. What's your last name?
There's a lot of Shisa porn on there.
Shoemaker, though.
Yeah, this is Shoemaker.
No, but eventually you do work your way in, and you're able to find essentially the apps and the mechanisms that he used to communicate with, in this case, it was actually an agency within the Central Intelligence Agency, and you found nothing to in any way suggest that he was not 100% working for us. But you don't find anything that is particularly telling about anything on the technology itself. Now, having said that, Lance, when he and Simon were in the room, as you may recall, Lance snapped photos using his high-tech glasses of the corpse of Hans Schreiber. And at the time, they had no time to examine the body at all because of the sniper fire.
I call them my Becky bifocals, by the way. Yeah.
Becky bifocals?
Yeah, that's what
It's Rebeccah.
Yeah, that's why I say it.
And Lance, I would assume that you sent that data back.
Well, it all goes straight to Rebeccah, and she then, like I think she was saying in the last episode, that she shares that information with the cranky coot.
With the cranky coot. Yeah. Okay, so you did exactly that over the last 2 days, and you uploaded multiple photos of Hans Schreiber. The analysis was done. It was confirmed yet again that he was who he thought he was. That obviously, he was killed as it appeared by the slices across the throat. One interesting thing of note that no one can seem to explain is that he had a what appears to be a brand, so not a tattoo, but a very small burned brand that looks almost like a black triangle on the back of his neck. So kind of a black, almost isosceles triangle on the back of his neck.
And nothing we know.
Yeah, we would have run it through our systems to see if it came up.
Right. So far, it means nothing to you or anyone that you've talked to. It's just something of note. So
Not even Captain Crunch?
Not even Captain Crunch. But Captain Crunch, Cobra Commander CC1, has told you where he needs you guys to go next, which is to do essentially what you just did and check on another asset. This one much closer to home. So you guys actually, as we start here, have left the farm. You've flown actually commercial to LaGuardia and have worked your way to New York City, where you were going to check on a Chinese national living on a green card on the border of Chinatown and Little Italy. And very similar to what happened with Hans, he has gone off the grid. You are more concerned because of his background and his nationality that there's a possibility that he has turned and may have disappeared and gone off the grid or been recruited, but you're being sent to his place of residence to see if you can find anything there. So
I just want to point out before leaving the farm that Lance would have spent a substantial amount of time reliving Rocky movies and chasing chickens around the farm, and probably not catching a single one because, well, he wouldn't.
Especially with one functioning hand.
Yeah.
That would have been hilarious
that would have
for
been
me
his
to
chicken
watch.
catching hand. Rebeccah, can you program this to catch some chicken?
Yeah, sure.
I like it. So
Not catch a chicken, choke a chicken.
Oh, Lord.
He has the ultimate stranger going on.
right, so you guys are you're into New York, and you guys
What's the name of the Chinese national?
Well, so so the name of the person that you're checking on is
Some Ding Wong.
Don't do that.
Zheng,
Some young guy.
Zhien, Zheng Huang, Huang.
So you're saying it Zheng, so I'm going to write it that way.
You can write it however you like. And you might say that last name is actually
Shen Huang?
Korean.
That's Korean.
And it may or may not be Korean, but that's what his name is.
Zheng Huang.
Zheng Huang.
Ching
Got it.
Wong.
Okay.
Okay.
You guys have got a suite at one of the Renaissance hotels near Times Square. And
That's a long way away from Chinatown.
well, but it's a place you like. You're comfortable. You can sit up there. And, there's subways. So his residence is at the corner of Moth Street and Canal Street on the Chinatown side. So Chinatown is south of Canal Street. Little Italy is north of Canal Street. And he's right there. And there's 6 subway stops and bus stops within 2 blocks. So you can get there easily. No big deal.
Is this the suite that our organization would normally get? So was it already outfitted for Rebeccah, or is it something different?
You have used it before when in New York. You just particularly like the service at this place. They make you feel classy and comfortable, and they've never given you a hard time.
Okay.
And but there's nothing particularly special about the hotel. And here's a map of where you guys are going to be going.
The wheelman gets that.
Yeah. Here's the residence right here.
I'm assuming
Here's your subway.
Since we're so undercover, we don't carry any ID that says we're part of this government organization.
Absolutely not.
No. However, Lance does carry or has available separate IDs for every different organization. It can be FBI, CIA, local law enforcement, whatever time he needs to be.
So you've been told by CC1 that, this guy may have just gone
You mean
off the
cottage
grid.
cheese?
Cottage Cheese 1 has told you that, he may have turned, he may have been recruited by the Russians or whoever is working against us, but we got to start by checking out and seeing what we can find there.
Okay.
So,
Oh, that would be bad. Russians recruiting the Chinese. Oh my gosh. Talk about total hacking.
or they could be working together. Like
Or he's hiding.
All they need to do is get somebody from South America as well.
Yeah.
Rebeccah knows how this works more than you do, but the national lines are not particularly important in the hacking community. So, what do you guys want to do?
You going to case the joint for a bit?
Well, I guess the normal, if we can ping his phone, things like that, to see where he's supposedly located, if we can get that information first. And then,
You get absolutely nothing off of his tech.
Okay.
Just
I
nothing.
almost want to go a little bit more speedy, because if we had been more speedy and less, what do you call it,
Cautious?
cautious on the last one, we may have been able to save him.
So you want to just bust in guns blazing?
Yes.
Typical Rellik.
That's what I was going to say. That's what guys in trouble in South America.
Well, there's no guns blazing. Just bust in.
When you say we get nothing off of his tech, and there's Joe asking, like his phone doesn't even respond, like it doesn't exist anymore.
No,
Or it responds, but you
Like
can't tell where
message-
it
It's
is.
not pinging any cell. It's not connecting any cell towers or whatever.
Exactly.
So you can't find it.
So
Yeah,
it's
it still
either off
exists. It still
or-
exists. It's just it doesn't tell you anything useful.
So
Okay.
you're telling me I can't use Find My Friends?
You cannot use Find Your Friends.
Also, since we have these
No
hackers
battery.
in our employ, do they have handlers that we can contact?
That's a good
Like,
question.
would he have a handle? No, absolutely not. These guys are on their own, and they have a channel they report through for their respective agency, but they don't have a handler that would know where they are at any given moment. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
you could call through the CIA.
Yeah,
and
to see
say-
like, hey, where does he normally go? What's his normal daily activities? So us to check certain locations.
Yeah, so
things like that.
you would know by background from CC1 that his daily activity is that he sleeps until 2 p.m. He wakes up and he plays StarCraft for 4 or 5 hours. When he finishes playing StarCraft, at some point he usually jerks off to porn, and then at that point starts working for real. Goes on through, he's Tor browser, multiple VPNs, changes his IP address 3 or 4 times, and ends up somewhere in the dark web doing things that you don't necessarily want to know about. But along those lines, he works for us, and he is in there working for us, or has been at least up until this point. And he's a night owl, so he'll do that until 11 or 12. Goes out. He almost always stays in Chinatown, eats in Chinatown, has friends in Chinatown, and he has a gambling problem.
As a matter of establishing a pattern, has he disappeared off the grid in the same amount of time that Hans had?
No. I'm not sure
I
what you're
guess
asking.
the more general question: are there any similarities to Hans going away as to this guy?
like when was contact lost?
Right.
Yeah. So what's happened at this point is there's been such a pattern that we're being preemptively cautious because we've lost so many hackers at this point. But having said that, we were actually in contact with Hans much more regularly than we have been with Jing. So it's actually been 7 to 10 days since his agency has had what they would consider meaningful and confirmable contact with him.
You say his agency. Does that mean our agency or different?
Well, he works for a subset within the CIA that is not our group.
That's right.
But we work with them.
Okay.
Okay.
So
So are we going in? No surveillance?
I think that is prudent.
I think Rellik wants to get there quick. So
Got a bad feeling
So
about this.
grab my cane and start walking.
okay. So you guys get off the subway at the corner of Center Street and Canal Street. You're just a couple blocks away. You walk down the street towards what you think is his residence. I assume that you guys are looking around and being cautious, and you don't notice
Yeah, we're doing counter surveillance.
anything at all out of the ordinary. I mean, you do feel, because you are all slightly racist, a little.
Wow.
GM Fiat,
But
I love it.
You feel the level of slight discomfort that white and brown people would feel in Chinatown.
Yeah.
Like, you know that there are things going on here, that
Yeah.
there are people in control that you don't know. People may be armed that, you just don't, it's a foreign place to you. Even though we're in the heart of New York City.
It's like Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan could jump out from a corner at any time.
As we
would have
approach
no
our
idea.
destination, I'm going to request an Uber
Okay.
to our destination.
Okay.
And let that kind of process and let the Uber show up in case things go down. We need an Uber out.
So we're going to use Uber as
We're going to reappropriate his vehicle.
Yes, we are.
Nice.
I'm just going to make sure it's parked where I need it.
Okay.
Here, Rellik, use this credit card.
Wonderful. Poor dude.
All right. So
Poor chick.
you get to the apartment.
Chicks can be dudes.
What kind of apartment?
If it's both, it's a dick.
He lives
huge
in
building, or?
It is a huge, tall, 5-story New York brownstone, but you know that he lives in the basement unit, so he's actually underground,
He's a basement dweller.
and he has his own entrance for the basement.
Okay.
So,
You can't play StarCraft at any altitude above
That's
sea level.
true.
Yeah.
so you all you make a prudent check of the surroundings. You don't see anyone. You knock.
What time of day are we doing this? We would like to do it if we know, like, he's normally home during these hours working,
Right. I mean, his
This
work
is-
hours are normally like 7 to midnight.
I do not want to go there at the time we know he's jerking off. Just so you know, I specifically
You don't
want to
walk in
that.
on John
Yeah.
He's got his hwang
Whatever.
out.
Jing.
with his wang.
Hwang out.
So it's
It's a Huang,
It's Huang.
by the way.
It's 9:30 p.m.
Sorry.
If he's there, you would expect him to be working.
Okay.
You knock. You don't hear anything at all. You want to take any other action before you go in?
Are there any cameras? Like, I mean, this guy's probably paranoid, right? Because he knows people are going away. Has he installed cameras outside his door?
No.
Okay.
Does it look like somebody's been here? Is the door,
Askew.
yeah.
No. You don't.
Is the
notice
door
anything unusual.
ajar?
Nope. You don't notice anything unusual at all.
It's not a table either.
Are you hanging out in the van, or no? We don't have a van. We're just walking.
We don't have a
around.
van.
Yeah.
We're just walking, so I'm with you guys.
Does Simon know Chinese?
Yes.
Okay.
In fact, I can tell you right now what. Now I'll hang up.
Okay. So at this point, Lance would
German.
be the guy who is going to make excuses for Simon being here. So he's going to be outside, and Simon can go in to talk to whomever. He'll be outside. If anybody comes along, Lance will make excuses for the guy who's in there. Telephone repairman or
don't really
utility
trust
guy
that
or
way,
something.
but-
All right. So you
He'll
guys
make up something that
yeah.
makes sense.
You guys head in, and you walk in. It's a kind of a very, very small 3-room apartment. Living room. You don't notice anything. You walk in the back room. You see a huge tech setup with 3 monitors, computer, and what you assume is Zhen lying on the floor with the back of his head completely blown off.
Is he still warm?
Stick your penis in
So-
there and find out.
Yeah, just roll a.
It's always warm there.
Roll a penis check.
You can tell by
Sorry,
touching
Kurt.
him that he is not warm. If you want to know more than that, roll a perception check.
Okay.
So Relic's going to be inside then.
Yeah.
Who's wearing the Becky focals?
I have an 8. I assume you want me to do it with the D20.
Yeah, D20 plus your whatever your mods
So
are.
an 8.
A total of an 8.
Yeah.
So I mean, you
He's
can tell
dead.
that he's dead and he doesn't feel warm. Does
Okay.
Anyone else want to look at the body or touch?
Lance would not be inside. He's outside to
Okay.
draw us.
Yeah, I'll double check.
I would be over by his computer system trying to log
That's
in
a
and
9 on the
figure out.
die if you take that roll.
What's the perception? What was perception?
There's a skill. You have modifiers on it.
Yeah, but you said the perception, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so 17.
Total 17. Okay, so you can tell that he has been dead for days. Significant. Like you already can smell that things aren't great. He's cold, and in checking the body, you notice on the back of his left hand
Is a black
a
triangle.
tattoo of essentially a black triangle. And it's not a perfect triangle. It's a kind of it's close to an isosceles triangle, but it's not.
Scalene.
It's not.
Let's not go all geometry.
The sides aren't perfectly straight.
Is it
But it's
significant?
a tattoo and not a brand.
It is
It's
a-
tattoo.
It is a tattoo.
Okay.
Is it significant that it's on his left hand?
Any signs of torture?
Relic?
I mean,
gonna
are
say
you
something
asking
along
in
the lines
metagame?
of-
I'm just writing on the hand, and I just want to know that's okay. Sorry.
It's just
Any
Relic's
signs
going to say something along the lines of fucking Illuminati.
Any signs of torture?
Totally.
No, it appears to you guys, being experienced as you are, that he had the back of his head blown off with a sawed-off shotgun.
Ow! That means the front of his head's gone too.
Yeah, no, he's a mess.
Yeah.
He's a
Gonna
mess. This
leave
is
him.
not.
And
How do
nobody,
you know it's him?
Heard anything?
And this happened here. There's blood everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, they may have heard things, but this happened days ago. Like, you have no idea.
But no one's come to check on like a loud noise. Shotguns are loud.
Maybe he plays StarCraft
Well,
with
that's
the
what I mean. Like,
speakers
he was-
really loud.
Like he was killed here.
Yes.
Okay.
Are you going to go knock on the doors and talk to the neighbors?
Yeah, I'm going to talk to a white
And that's
guy.
the thing is, yeah, that's the thing. So this is its own community with its own rules and its own level of insularity.
Yeah. I could do
And
that.
who knows why this was not reported or
Right.
why he's still there. But the fact is he's been dead for days. And
we could go knocking
And it's
on
not-
other doors and they're just people with their heads blown off inside of every
They got
house.
the whole bottom floor.
Right.
right.
Has any of his tech been taken or tampered with? I guess she would know. Maybe I don't know. Like hard drives pulled or anything like that. Or?
No, not obviously so.
So can I log in, try to figure out, retrace his steps for the last few days, or before he was blown away?
Are the shells still here as well?
Uh,
Empty casings.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, there was not a great deal of care taken to change the scene. Like, yep. He was.
I'll grab him in
Look,
case
someone.
we get.
Someone walked in, blasted him, and walked out and
Yeah.
left, and has not been heard from since.
I mean, he did have a gambling issue. This might not be related.
It may not be related yet.
Yeah.
Fine.
But I'll grab the cases in case we can do something with them later.
Okay. Anything else while we're here?
Can't think of anything.
Okay. So, so you guys leave.
Did I find anything on his computers?
Well, so are you doing that searching there, or are you going to take it with you?
I would try to quickly log in, try to see the last few sites or whatever that he was doing. Kind of try to retrace his steps.
Okay. So what I would say is right there on the scene and with his setup, unless you guys want to commit hours to staying there, you're not going to make any progress. But if you want to take it with you and work on it, then that would be fine.
All right, so preliminary scan didn't tell me anything, guys. I'm going to have to pull the drives and take them with us back to HQ.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay. So are you guys going back to the hotel suite?
After many.
No, we're taking the Uber though. We're not going back.
Yeah,
to
we don't want to. Yeah, we want to be, use our counter surveillance skills so we're not followed and all that jazz. We wanna,
What's our Uber
even if it
driver's
takes
name?
a couple hours to get back to the hotel, whatever.
What's our Uber driver's name?
Your Uber driver's name is Frederica.
Frederica.
Oh,
Okay.
I remember her.
I'm
Is
only
she
giving
cute?
her 3 stars though. She's a horrible driver.
3 stars?
Yeah.
What the hell you got against Frederica?
Did you see that left-hand turn? She didn't signal.
At least she didn't hit the damn...
It's New York City, buddy.
The Ballard? The Ballard?
Ballard like you did back in Germany.
I was also going at an extreme rate of speed. I mean, I'm not sure how fast I was going in freedom units, but it
It was
something.
also in a
that-
rental van.
Is that Joe talking to us from
Yes.
outside?
Yes,
Yes.
it is.
It's awesome to brainstorm and now his disembodied voice. All right, so you guys take appropriate counter surveillance measures. The whole time you're looking, you don't see anyone showing any interest in you, which would make sense if this happened days ago. It does not appear that anyone was setting a trap for you or anything of that nature.
Kurt, do we know anyone in his local network who we should contact before we move on from here?
You do not. You do not. I do think that you will want Rebeccah to continue to search on his tech, but you don't have anyone in his network that would be in any way of interest to what we're doing. He had other criminal involvement in Chinatown, but it doesn't pertain to you guys or affect that.
Can we reach his bookie?
His bookie?
That's a good point. He had a gambling problem, unless it was online gambling, in which case Rebeccah could track it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you could. But
It's
wouldn't-
okay to say it's not relevant.
It's not
Yeah,
relevant.
you can say we do it, nothing.
Yeah, I
comes
mean, that
of
was
it.
for flavor and not relevant. to
Yeah.
the
Okay.
plot. So-
This
Well, it's a
Black
good
Triangle thing, since my guy has interest in the occult and things like that, have I noticed in any old texts or something like that, maybe?
Right, so that's a great idea. I mean, a triangle like that is so nondescript that it could apply to a number of things, and it would be found in a number of symbols for everything from the Masons to the Illuminati to.
Well, you say it's slightly off, though. That could be a clue.
Yeah, I mean,
Or do all of them put together?
It looks like something else to you, but you can't quite place what you think it looks like.
Is it part of something else?
I think I got it now. It's those little pie pieces from Trivial Pursuit. When we get to the end of this, we win.
We've got the whole circle.
We got to get to the middle of that and answer that.
Yeah,
and we need one of each color.
Yeah.
Well, we got a Chinese guy, we got a German guy. Yeah,
That's at least 2 colors.
Yeah, right.
Right. So while you guys are working on all this, Rebeccah, she is constantly online in multiple personalities as a hacker and part of the hacker community. And you can describe to me how you would have received this, but you actually receive from out of nowhere a message from a sender that you don't recognize while you're working on decoding the drives.
So I'm decoding the drives, drinking Mountain Dew, click, 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 click.
And eating Cheetos.
Eating Cheetos.
Are you breathing out of your mouth?
No, I don't mouth breathe. Jerk.
She's not a computer nerd.
So
something pops up on my screen. Message to Black Mamba.
Well, you go to the
Hacky Becky.
Hacky Becky.
Hacky Becky.
Hacky Becky.
You go to the equivalent of what a hacker's email box is.
Yeah,
and
so-
you have a message that says it's time for you to stop playing around. Come meet the big boys and get access you've never dreamed of.
The hell is this? I would try to trace the message. Can I trace where the message came from?
You can try, and you follow it through a couple of IP addresses, and you can see that it's bounced from Thailand to the Philippines, through Singapore, and somewhere in Russia, and you have no idea where it came from.
So these guys know what they're doing to hide their tracks. And to call me by Hacky Becky.
It's an awesome name.
They got
Kurt is the original.
What do you call yourself when you're Hacky? You don't call yourself Hacky Becky, right?
No, she does. She calls herself Hacky Becky.
But the A is the @ symbol.
Awesome.
Yeah.
at hackybecky.com.
Yes.
.org.
So you trace it back, and you don't get anywhere. And so you continue.
It's actually coming from your own keyboard.
You continue working on the files, and while you're working on the files, you get another message like 2 hours later. And it's a street address and a date and a time. And it says...
Be there, be square.
It says you are cordially invited to
2332 Washington Street, San Francisco, 8:30 p.m., March 22nd.
I'm going to reach out to some of my other friends. I'm going to reach out to La Bamba, who's somebody who I kept in touch with, part of the underworld.
Okay.
See if he has heard of this guy or whomever it was that sent me that message.
Okay. So, and while she's doing this, are you guys just hanging out, like playing poker? Or?
I'm practicing escaping restraints, doing some crazy
Lance will be
shit.
reminiscing about not catching chickens at the farm.
Okay. Tell me more about practicing escaping restraints.
I'm trying to be like Houdini. I'm trying to handcuffs behind my back and whatever craziness, whatever tools I could find, like paper clips, whatever she has around the house.
Okay. Awesome.
Rellik is watching spaghetti westerns on TV.
Excellent.
You're escaping from paper clips. That's awesome.
Once upon a time in the West. All right. So, Mickie, it does not actually take you long at all to figure out what the invitation is for. While the initial contact was highly secretive and how it came to you is highly secretive, it takes you like 7 minutes to figure out that you have been invited to a meeting or a launch event for feedingfrenzy.com. Which is a new dating site for ultra high net worth clients, and there's more to it than that. But it's essentially a kind of high end matching company, Silicon Valley startup. It's been in the papers. Everyone knows about it, and there's a meeting for what you are able to discern through your research is going to be essentially a hedge fund and private equity investors and people that would be involved in the site development.
I think you need to tell Crotchety Crank about this.
New Age Pimps. So I would send a message to Cassius.
NewAgePimps.com.
NewAgePimps.com. I'd send a message to Cassius Clay about this contact and request permission to engage.
Okay. So by way of background, you guys that where you're going is going to be Pacific Heights in San Francisco. So all the money in tech right now is either in the valley itself or in downtown San Francisco. Pacific Heights is one of the nicer neighborhoods, and this is a a premium address. The party, you've actually pinged essentially back on this message, and you've been able to communicate with the sender, and you know that the invitation is for you, and that you're expected to, or is hoped that you will come.
Okay.
And we'll go from there. So, what are your next steps?
Well, we're going to have to turn Rebeccah into Pretty Woman in order for this to work. She is not at all suited to go to a high-end party at this point.
Hey.
You got to take off that beanie. We're going to have to style your hair at least a little bit, and
So we're gonna
probably wash it.
No.
Yes. It's going to take some effort to get her ready for some highfalutin feeding frenzy.
What was that?
We got to
Sandra
make
Bullock
sure
movie?
you're an appropriate bait for the feeding frenzy.
Miscongeniality.
Oh, yeah.
So we're having a miscongeniality moment. Wonderful.
Yeah, I would presume a montage of Lance just quickly grabbing an appropriate suit or tuxedo for the event, and then spending hours trying to get Rebeccah ready.
You come near me with those clippers, and you're going to lose your other hand.
So, are you assuming that you are her +1?
There's no chance of it being anyone else.
gonna
Lance
take
is going.
Say, how does Rellik
Yeah.
feel about this?
Yeah, Lance is going.
Rellik knows that he doesn't fit into these highfalutin parties.
Yeah.
All right. So, while you are preparing for the party, you guys do some research. And as part, basic research on this. And so you're checking out feedingfrenzy.com and all of that. And while you are doing that, Simon, who's been studying the symbols, can you roll a perception check?
17.
17. Okay. So you notice the logo for the company is a shark, something like this. And as you're looking at it and looking at
Why
it,
does it have a
looking at
quagmire chin?
It's just
giggity.
let's not make fun of Kurt's art.
The one triangled out. Yeah.
You notice that the shark fin, the shape of the shark fin, is very similar to what you've seen on the two bodies that you guys have found.
Gotcha. Okay.
Coincidence, perhaps, but it catches your eye.
Right.
Okay. While this is going on, Mickie, you are continuing to try to ping the sender of the messages and figure out whatever you can. And you are not able to figure out at all who it is, but you are able to figure out that at least some of the messages are coming from an entity, BFN Inc.
And the whole time she's doing that, I have my trusted Asian stylist in San Francisco trying to pretty her up. Like, hold still.
I told you, no polish.
Right. So again, as part of this process, who would be like Mickey's hacking, but who would be kind of researching and trying to figure out what's going on?
Actually, as a former bounty hunter / that sort of thing, like research is definitely something that is second nature to Rellik.
Okay, so Simon has kind of recognized, it's a. It's not a connection, but it's a long shot. You're like,
Shark bait.
And meanwhile, JJ Rellik is doing some research on BFN Inc. and it's one of these shells within shells and LLCs that own S corps and all of that. But BFN Inc. itself is a shell company that's owned offshore and has been referred to in other places as Blackfin Incorporated.
Okay.
So there's a couple of shark references going on here, and Rebeccah and Lance appear ready to kind of go into the deep of it, if you will. So I guess at this point you guys need to decide. So they're going to head to a party where they've been invited by someone who has some type of references to sharks or to fins or things that may or may not link to the dead people that you found. So you guys need to decide how, if at all, you want to proceed.
So this launch event, I'm just going to be tons of people there. It's like a well-known thing.
Yeah, and this is it's a very select crowd of computer industry insiders
right.
which may or may not include. I mean, the line between the industry and the hacker world is thin, but there will be press, there will be venture capital types.
Yeah, it's a public event.
It is essentially a private public event of very rich or very important tech folks.
Let me fix that. There's no way that Lance isn't going to this.
Awesome.
Now, are the Kardashians going to be here?
They are not.
Well, all right, maybe Lance isn't going.
I don't get to kick one in the shin.
Just walk around kicking people in the shin until you get the right response.
That's what happens when you blow out my hair.
I'm sorry.
They get big hair.
Big hair.
Your big hair.
She's got like 80s hair.
That'd be awesome.
Yes.
All that.
Oh, she's probably
Fair
wearing a French
fuck.
maid outfit and a choker, right?
Farrah Fawcett feathers.
We can always hope.
Yes.
Don't forget the 6-inch heels.
Yeah.
All right,
So
so
now she's 5'6".
just so you guys know, you have scoped it out. The house that you're going to, something like this.
Ooh.
Okay.
Okay.
It is not a minimalist house, but is very contemporary. It was actually designed by the architect Ravi Anand. It's very modern, very classy. There's going to be valet parking. There's going to be security, and
What's kind of security?
Does Danny Tanner live there?
Does who?
Danny
Danny
Tanner.
Tanner.
I don't know who that is.
Full House.
Oh, so,
Sorry.
it's been a long time since I saw Full
Yeah.
House.
It wasn't so full.
Yep. But it is an open event. So let's jump forward now to the day of.
How do you handle valet parking with Uber?
I'm surprised that the driver over here is willing to let you guys rely on Uber, but that's up to him.
Well, because he was just going to steal their car.
Exactly. The car.
So are you guys going to just be sitting home while these two go off to the party?
No, but we need to figure out what kind of capacity we're going to
Yeah, like what-
Are we trying to be inside or just hang out outside and just come in if we need to?
They'll definitely have to be watching the monitors while I'm wearing my Becky vocals.
All right, guys, let's try not to break my equipment this time.
Or you could just, design to be slightly hardier than a toothpick.
So there's no way for us to procure a invitation.
Not an invitation.
Okay.
That doesn't mean there's not a way for you to be
Right.
there. But
Like what
there's no
kind
way
of?
for
Because
you
this looks like it's this building's up against a bunch of other buildings, so we can get in some other way.
So should I try to walk you through how to
Yeah, can we get the
Access
blueprints of
the
this place? Yeah, we get the.
how to access the blueprints and all that good
Well,
stuff?
if we can get ahead of time, I can come in through here.
Ooh, I got an idea. Is the parking or the sidewalk outside? Is it fresh? Is it cracked? Could I trip and fall and have them take me into their medical staff?
It's not that kind of place.
It's not that
try. I don't
You're
know
gonna
that
pull
I don't know that would be a reliable option, but it certainly would be a
Fallen.
possible option.
I'll sue you! I've fallen and I can't get into the feeding frenzy grand opening. Help.
It was an idea. Come on.
Or can I
So-
get in as
so
part
it's
of
not a
the
bad one.
staff, whether it's the wait staff or anything?
All right, so you guys are asking me how you can get in. You should decide how you want to get in, and then we can roll to see whether you can.
Gotcha.
If you want to get in. If you both want, you need to decide if all four of you want to be in.
Actually, I'll be out with the Uber driver monitoring.
Uber again.
Oh, we're in San Francisco. That's the heart of Uber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the driver
Yeah.
from Deadpool? We'll get that guy.
And he's still using my credit card, so we're good.
You certainly have the experience to know that you would at least have a chance of getting in as a food service, as a caterer, as a valet driver, as a press member. I mean, it's up to you to decide how you want to, if at all, try to get in. Physical infiltration.
I think I saw that movie.
Using blueprints and things, you can of course try it, but will be harder. I mean, this is the type of house that has safe rooms built into it and has
gotcha.
drop
That's what I
down
mean, yeah.
Kevlar blinds built
Yeah,
into it and
right.
that kind of thing.
Yeah, so I'd rather get in as one of the food service people or whatever.
Okay. So presumably you need to get in there ahead of these two, right? Mm-hmm. All right, and JJ, you're going to stay out. That's the plan.
I'm going to stay out. I'm going to have the getaway car ready.
And are you driving a surveillance van this time, or a real car?
A real car. A a more agile car, but still 4-person friendly, like a
Toyota
Chevy Impala.
Prius. Sorry.
Chevy Impala.
Yeah,
In San Francisco.
In San
boy.
Francisco, it probably would be a Prius.
Is there a 4-seat Tesla? Because
I know, you
they're
could
probably
get-
all over
There
this
is the
neighborhood.
Tesla S, the Model S. Is
We get us a
definitely-
Bugatti.
There you go. Make sure it's fully charged.
yeah. Get the P100D X.
As an
Go for
Uber
it.
driver, why would an Uber driver be Ubering with a Tesla?
You got to pay off the car, man. Exactly. Somehow. I mean, $2 a trip. That'll do it.
Hey,
All right, so-
adds up.
So you've got the car. You're tuxedoed up or
Yeah.
suited up.
Whatever's the appropriate attire for the event.
Well, in San Francisco, it would either be a tux
Yeah.
or it would be kind of business casual. They don't do a lot of suits. So
Yeah.
this one's going to actually be black tie and evening gowns.
All right, we're there.
So this is a launch event for what they hope will be $1 billion website. So
And Rebeccah has been suitably attired in something both sparkly and black.
yes, and she can at some point tell us what that looks like.
Yes.
Oh, it's absolutely gorgeous. Sweetheart. Off the shoulder, sweetheart. What's it called? Neckline. Full ball gown all the way to the floor.
Showing
But
off
with
her
a tasteful,
cyber boobs.
a tasteful slit so that I can run if I need to.
Okay.
And I have my piece strapped to my thigh.
Excellent. All right. So, Simon, you have already earlier in the day succeeded in obtaining the clothing that you need, and you have infiltrated as part of the, unless you tell me otherwise, the food service staff.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that works.
You're going to be.
So I could be a foreigner. I could pretend I'm some foreigner, but
You walk around with a can of
Yep.
tray of hors d'oeuvres and all of that. So 7:30 comes. Time you guys show up at the front door.
I will say I'm like ankle carrying like a Glock 26, like the subcompact ankle rigging. So I can still conceal something.
Okay.
usable.
And are you guys armed at all?
Yeah, I would be using the same Walther on my thigh, but using whatever technology that Rebeccah and our team has been using to get past metal detectors.
Okay.
Make it seem like an anomaly rather than a weapon.
Right. So it's a ceramic piece, like with no
Sure,
metal
whatever
walls.
works. Yeah, as long as it
High
still
end.
shoots when I need to shoot it.
There aren't any.
That's fine.
There are
Those are
no-
good. Yeah.
But we are.
But you
we're
could pull-
we're
well, you could
playing
pull
in,
off your
we're
hand.
playing in that
Plastic.
world.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so you guys arrive at the front door. There are beautiful people outside. You're impressed already by the quality of the house. It's not the kind of place that you usually hang out. There are two exquisitely tuxedoed gentlemen by the there's a staircase going up to the first floor. They look like partygoers, but when you go to arrive, they politely stop and ask for your invitation.
We present the
You present the
invitation that was
invitation.
given.
Okay, so you present the invitation, and at that point, one of the gentlemen looks your way and kind of discreetly but politely indicates to you that he has to check you for security.
I will do whatever the people in front of us did. Put the arms out or up or whatever is appropriate for the situation.
Okay, and where is your gun?
It is my penis, actually.
It would be deep concealment.
Actually,
The hammer is your penis?
similarly to Rebeccah, will be strapped to the thigh.
On the interior thigh.
Inner or outer?
I'm thinking for ease
It's
of
strapped to
access,
his
it would be
taint.
outer, but
Okay.
I mean that just seems more appropriate with my Velcro rip-away tuxedo kind of thing.
Okay.
That's funny to me.
So he gives you what's really just a cursory pat down,
Yeah.
and he checks under your arms. They're not making a scene of this. This is very quick, very discreet, and he says, "Welcome, sir. We're glad to have you this evening. Please get some champagne inside." And so the two of you walk up. You enter into the first room. This is an amazing entry room. 20-foot ceilings. A modern, minimal but beautiful chandelier, inlaid bookshelves with what appear to be very expensive volumes, and kind of beautiful people milling around.
I've actually, I don't know why, but I got this picture of like your den, Kurt's den with like RPG books along the shelves. It would be awesome if they had like the Curse of Strahd and the different books from D&D up on the shelf. Sorry,
Awesome,
go ahead.
awesome. So you two are in the house.
Yeah.
You are working the room. Tell me what you see. What's happening?
Oh, me? Okay, I'm sorry.
Or
I
any
thought
of
the
you
assignment.
that's inside.
So we're in there. I guess the first thing that I'm doing is I'm looking, based on what Lance knows about who runs the joint, where are they going to be, and I need to start watching them. Like whoever's in charge here, I need to find them and start watching them immediately.
Right. Okay, so from your research, you know that the CEO of Feeding Frenzy is Viktor Sharkanoff.
Shark. Awesome.
Which in and of itself does not necessarily mean anything to your team. I mean, he is the name and the CEO of the group, but he is the person who's hosting the party and who presumably has either invited Rebeccah or has caused her to be invited.
Okay. And also, presumably, we would have a picture of him.
Yes, I mean, he's a public figure.
So
you know what he looks like.
And is he around? Or somebody that we know reports directly to him?
You mean, is there someone at the party who...
Yeah, because normally, I mean, Viktor wouldn't show up until everyone has arrived and he shows up on the balcony to start talking, right? So in the meantime, who is the right-hand person for him? And
so actually, unlike what you would expect, Viktor is at the party. And so this is there are 3 floors to this residence, 2 of which are being used for the party. So there's the main floor, and then people are moving up and down between the first and second floors. And you can tell that Viktor actually is just kind of mingling in the crowd and talking with folks. And it does not take long. Within the first 15 minutes, he actually works his way over to Rebeccah and comes up and kind of very debonair, in a debonair manner in his tuxedo, and takes her hand and kisses it on the back and introduces himself to her.
What does he call me?
He says to you, "I'm so glad that you're here this evening. I'm so glad that you came as requested."
Well, you piqued my curiosity. I had to come see what exactly you were peddling out here.
Well, I'm peddling what will surely be one of the great internet companies of the 21st century this evening, and it's something that I want everyone here to know about and to buy into as fully as I have.
So Lance will not specifically introduce himself, but we'll wait to see if Viktor even notices he exists.
Right.
And just in the meantime, listen and watch the way he interacts with Rebeccah.
Right. So he's not ignoring you, but he does not make any particular indication to you at first. He's clearly focused on Rebeccah.
As a matter of keeping up appearances, her arm would be in my arm, as we're both not really paying attention to each other, just there together.
Right. So after a couple
I'll say into his earpiece, not too friendly now.
So after just a few seconds of kind of cursory chit chat, Viktor says, there are a number of people I need to see here, but I really would like to continue this conversation, perhaps in private. I see you've brought a guest this evening. I'm Viktor Sharkanoff. It's a pleasure to meet you, sir.
I'm Philip. Good to meet you.
Philip, nice to meet you. I hope you won't mind if I steal your date just for a minute or two later. We have some business we need to talk about.
Oh, not at all. I'm sure she'd be happy to talk to you.
Excellent. Great. Well, if you could give me just a few minutes, I've got a couple of people I need to see, and then I'll make sure to find you. So, and then he walks off and
Are you wearing your Becky specs?
Yes.
Did you take a picture of him?
Yes.
And through the earpiece, I'd tell Rellik, "Hey, Rellik, did you get that relay?
Oh, yeah. I've been watching the entire thing.
Why don't you upload it and send it to Cute Cat, see if we can get a hit."
Okay.
Since I was here earlier, I wanted before them. I'd like just to get a count of who's security, how many there are, if I can tell they're armed, what they're armed with,
right,
anything like that.
Yeah, so it's a relatively low event. I mean, there is security. I mean, this guy's worth $500 million at least, and everyone here is worth a ton of money. So there has to be the appearance of security, and there are probably 4 armed guards dressed in tuxedos kind of wandering throughout, but it doesn't have the feel of anything beyond what you would expect at a party of this type in Pacific Heights.
Going along the same lines, as all the guests arrive, how many are actually there? Not counting wait staff and servants and the boss.
Yeah,
who is actually there?
When you arrive, you're probably the 18th, 19th, 20th people into the party, but 15 to 30 minutes later, there's, including all the staff that's working, probably 75 people in the residence.
So it's probably a little crowded.
Yeah, it's a bustling cocktail party.
Okay.
Also, see if I can notice any black triangles on people's bodies and any.
Right. So you're looking around while
as I deliver,
Okay. So
food, drink, whatever.
Roll me a perception check first.
21.
21. Okay, and now roll me a knowledge. Just roll me a general knowledge check.
You have knowledge, Shark?
Well, that's kind of what I'm rolling.
13.
13. Okay.
Knowledge, Shark.
All right. So You don't notice any black triangles on tattoos or brands or anything of that kind, but you definitely notice, there's a lot of shark. There's a beautiful small statue of a shark that has a black tipped dorsal fin on it, and you know that is a black tipped reef shark. Okay. And you also see when you're moving throughout in one of the studies, there are a number of photographs of sea life, moray eels, sharks, things of that nature. And you just have a sense that the presence of these sharks and the fins is consistent with what you saw on the two bodies. So, they're triangles. It could be something else, but you think that there's an involvement. Yeah. So connection. At this point, Victor works his way, he's made a couple of small speeches and to the crowd and has asked them to enjoy themselves. And at this point, he comes back to find Rebeccah and says, Rebeccah, I'd love to speak with you. And he actually does call you Rebeccah, which you take note of. Rebeccah, I'd love to speak with you if I could have a word in my library for a few moments. Your friend is welcome to join us. He can just have a glass of brandy while we chat, as long as he can give us a little privacy.
Certainly. Phil, why don't you...
Sure, that's fine.
I'll make sure I hand him the brandy since I'm the waitstaff. Make sure it's good to go, so it's not tampered with.
Okay, so you've come into the room, you served him the brandy, and then presumably kind of kept moving and out.
Yeah. Now, is Victor going to try and keep me out of earshot?
Yeah, So this is a fairly large room. And he has been polite enough to allow you to join her. Okay. He's not trying to isolate her from you, but he definitely wants to have a private conversation with her. So he said, please make yourself at home. I particularly love this chair. Here's a nice brandy. I'm just going to chat for a moment, and I'll let you go back to the party. So
ahead of time, because he said he wanted a private chat with her, Lance and Rebeccah would have arranged for some piece of equipment she is wearing to relay to the glasses that he is wearing so that he could listen into the conversation while they talk.
Okay.
So he could stay away.
Hair
clip, okay.
Okay. So
she has programmed it in the meantime to make it work. Yes? Seem reasonable?
I don't know. What does the GM say?
Were they sweeping for bugs when we came in? Or
no. Yeah, that's fine. For you guys, that would be perfect.
They just wanted to feel me up.
Yeah.
That's all.
They want to feel your lance.
Ooh, Lance Dixon.
So, now.
So
it's that kind of party.
So at this point, you're in this beautiful high ceilinged. This is actually, even though it's a very modern, contemporary building that you're in, or home that you're in, this one feels like kind of the dark library, like you would expect at the Harvard Club or something. Old leather volumes, dark library, leather chair.
Many leather bound.
And Victor just says,
people.
He says, I just feel comfortable here. This reminds me of home, and it's my favorite room to hang out. I'm glad to have a few moments to chat with you.
Where is home?
It's a library?
Yeah, it's a library.
So before you get onto the conversation with Rebeccah, Lance would specifically try to find a book that he thinks Victor would be interested in and grab that off the shelf to thumb through it while he's talking to her.
Okay.
So he's looking at something instead of paying attention to that.
Okay. So you should think about what that book might be.
Okay. Moby Dick.
And so Victor comes over to Rebeccah and says, essentially, and you guys have kind of gone off towards one side, and Philip, Lance, is sitting on the other side. And Victor turns so his back is to Lance, and his pleasant kind of gentlemanly, suave air literally just turns to stone, and he looks at you and he says, "I know who you are, and I know what you're doing." He says, "And it will not continue."
I don't know what you're talking about, Victor.
He said, "You know exactly what I'm talking about, and I know all about you and your friends, and your time is up. And I have nothing more to say. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening." And at that point, he actually walks to the door. It's a double door in and out of the library. And he opens the door, and then he walks out and closes it behind him. And at that point, Lance, I need you to roll a perception check.
All right. Let me. Here's my die. That would be 18.
All right. So
12 plus 8. 12 plus 8 is 20. Sorry.
All right. And can you roll one too?
Perception check?
Yeah.
Awesome. There's a 10 on the dice plus 8, 18.
Okay. So you kind of look at Lance and essentially that was rude and abrupt. And did you get that? So could you hear what the conversation was?
Yeah, that was pretty short.
Right. And so you guys are kind of looking at each other like a little confused and a little
His
worried.
demeanor totally changed.
Right. And then at that point, all of a sudden, both of you almost simultaneously kind of start to smell something that doesn't smell right to you.
Did you pass gas?
Again.
Right. And
Engage cloaking device.
and while you're joking about farts, the smell actually starts to get stronger, and and it's like almost something that you would.
Are
choke
there
on.
windows?
Are there windows? Yeah.
There is a large, solid, huge bay window on one side of the library,
Okay.
but it's not a window that you could open. It's not like it's a.
I'm talking about breaking.
We could shoot it.
Yeah. So
I rushed right over to the door he left through. Presumably he locked it, but what does it look like? What kind of lock is it? I don't know crap about this, but I'm ready to bust a door down.
right.
Even
So
though I have no strength.
So what you can tell from what you smelled that there's some type of gas coming into the room.
Okay.
And the doors, even though it was a double door that's open, they're closed and they're sealed, and there's a numeric keypad on them.
So now our communications go out to Rellik, who's out at the singular terminal that Rebeccah left him with.
Right.
Did Rebeccah tell him what's going on? I don't know crap.
Relic.
And at that point, you guys know that you guys have trained your breathing because what you are through kind of apnea training so that you can hold your breath longer than most. But you know that you have 3 minutes at most before you're going to have to inhale.
You're actually going to start a timer.
And that's where we're going to stop for this episode.
Oh, in the meantime, we can also...
Hold your breath.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Come on back and find out what happens to these two who are trapped in the library with presumably noxious gas coming in.
Hasta la vista.
Baby. Stop it.
The preceding podcast was brought to you by One Joe Young. You can find us online at adventuresfromtheshed.com.